Hello and welcome. This is going to be kind of a fill in the details or fill in the missing details video. I'm going to try to keep this real short, but there's been a lot of confusion about why I'm not using these 3-wire grounded plugs and I'm using these 2-wire polarized plugs. And I had a couple questions recently that brought to light that I probably haven't been specific enough on why or what the reasons are. This traveler radio here, the only connection to the chassis is this one capacitor. Everything else is floating. It's got a floating B minus, and of course the B plus is above ground. Perfectly fine to throw a 3-wire plug with the ground wire connected to the chassis on this set. As long as you have a safety rated capacitor here, no issue. Go ahead and put a 3-wire plug on there. It certainly will make the set safer. I no longer do it because I had so many customer complaints about here in New England, so many houses don't have the 3-wire outlets, or they take up too much room in the outlet. And I had so many callbacks that finally you can't get through to some people or explain to non-technical people why we do this. So we revert back to the 2-wire plug, which has been working fine on lamps for years as long as the lamp is wired correctly. No question, this would be a safer set with the 3-wire plug, but there's only so much you can do. Then we get to this General Electric set here, and this is a bit of a different story. The AC line comes in and it's connected directly to the chassis. And you say, well, why don't you just lift that? That's great, except this point, 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 all through this radio. It's connected to the chassis. Excuse me. I call them that all the time. It's a New England thing. Bonded wire, bonded wire, bonded wire, bonded wire, bonded wire, bonded wire, bonded wire. They're all through this set. For me to lift that neutral leg or that line leg off of this, I'm going to have to start drilling holes and putting terminal strips and running a bus wire or some connection through this set. It takes hours and hours. It just isn't practical in this set to do that. And in this set, if you use the 3-wire plug and you have the ground leg connected to ground and your neutral line connected to ground, everything's fine. Until somebody plugs one of these into an outlet where the neutral and the line connections are reversed. Then you have a direct path coming in from line to ground, and you blow the circuit breaker. And I had an irate customer, as I explained in one of my videos, claiming that I had ruined his radio because everything else worked in that outlet except this radio. And I've also been asked, why don't you just rewire the outlet for them? Well, I'm not a licensed electrician. You take a customer who doesn't understand the reasoning behind why the outlet has to be wired correctly. I fix the outlet. A month later, he takes one of these quartz heaters and plugs it into a Chinese extension cord with like number 20 wire in it, and he has a fire plugged into that same outlet. Guess whose fault it is? Guess who's the first suspect? So, unless you're a licensed electrician and you're dealing with one of those customers, you're stuck. You have no choice. So that is one of the reasons that the reason that I no longer use the 3-wire plug. If you have one of these sets that has nothing but a capacitor to ground, and your customer has 3-wire outlets in his house, please, by all means, go ahead and use the 3-wire plug and ground the chassis, and everything will be fine. As long as you're using a safety rated cap there, you're good to go. I hope that cleared up some of the misconceptions or misunderstandings. And last night, after I completed the last video, part B, on the Triad radio, I went to bed and woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning in a cold sweat going, why didn't I think of this sooner? And I blame this on my 286 processor. I can change this series string set to a 12SQ7, 12SA7, 12SJ7, 6SK7, or 12SK7. Change all of these tubes to 12 volts. Change this to a 35 volt L6, 35 L6, and change the rectifier to a 35Z5. Now the 35Z5 only has a single anode and cathode. It's not a dual rectifier, but they're using this as a half-wave rectifier anyway. I can eliminate this resistor and this resistor entirely and run this as a normal series string circuit. We can use the tap on the 35Z5 for our dial lamp, eliminate this resistor, eliminate this resistor, and we don't need any heat producing resistors. I will have to do a little bit of work on the rectifier. This tube has an impedance of 15 ohms per section, which means about 7.5 ohms of impedance in the B plus line. The 35Z5 also has 15 ohms impedance, but it's only 1, so I'd be doubling the impedance. I could get around that very easily by putting a silicon rectifier with a resistor in series in parallel with the tube, and our B plus voltage would be back up where it belonged. We could totally eliminate this and this. These 6 volt tubes and these 25 volt tubes draw 250 milliamperes of current, which means about 30 watts is being consumed in the filament string. By going over to the 12 volt tubes, we drop that current draw down to 150 milliamperes, which means now we're only drawing about 18 watts in the filament string. So you have an improvement in power savings, and you can eliminate 2 resistors. Just something I'm banging around in my head. If you think that would be a great project, let me know in the comments section, and I'll see what I've got for tubes. I'm sure I have enough. I'm sure I've got all of these and this in my inventory. I don't know about the 35Z5, but I can pick one of those up. Okay, short and sweet. I hope that cleared up some misunderstandings, and we're very soon going to have the videos out on this GE set. Again, it's the holiday season, so things are kind of busy around here, but we'll do what we can do to get this set on YouTube for you. It's got an interesting auto transformer power supply that I've never run across before, but we're dealing with it, and it's going to be fun. See you soon. Bye.